Hey technicians from Monarch Beverage Service Center, this is Jen from DraftLine, and this is your quick tutorial on how to use our DraftLine Smart System mobile application for your iOS devices. So the first thing we need you to do is go to the App Store on your iOS device that you're going to be using for work, and you're going to search for DraftLine Smart System. That will bring up our mobile application, which is free to download, and you will click Install. I already have mine installed, so I'm just going to click Open. You're then going to input your individual credentials for your login. It will be your email address and a password. We'll send all of those to you separately. So then you just click Go, and that's going to take you into your route for the day. So what we want to do is go by date, and you guys will have to scroll forward to the 25th. But for the purposes of right now, I'm going to go to the 22nd. And you will see each of your trips for the day outlined in basically an overview page. So they'll just scroll downwards and you can click and open each one. Now this particular trip is for Greektown Casino, and this is the overview page. You'll see this for each one of your trips. You can call, you can get directed, you'll see the address and any particular tasks under the task description box that are potentially important for you to see before you walk into the account. Now, the first thing you do after that is you go over to the tasks bar and you check in. We want to see you check in as soon as you get out of your truck and start to unload all of your supplies to go into the account, because we have certain reports that are going to generate for the customers, and we want a real good time tracking of when you were there. And we consider the service call as starting as soon as you hit the parking lot, not when you're inside. And the same thing goes for checking out. We like you to wrap up the service, get everything up in your truck, everything stored to go, and after that's complete, then you check out and head off to the next trip. So for the purposes of what we're tracking right now for Monarch, we are going to go to the line cleaning portion. Now, if a account has multiple systems, it will display like this. 95% of accounts are just going to have one system. So you click on the first one. This one happens to be Glycol, and we are going to complete our line cleaning checklist for the line cleaning process. So first 4 steps, no matter whether you're doing static or recirculation, is always regular maintenance. So for every cleaning, you're going to click regular maintenance, no matter which process you're using. Now for this one, I will also check off recirculation, and only when you're performing your quarterly acid cleaning, you'll click off acid. So most of the time this is not going to be totally complete, because we have extra options on there that you're not supposed to be using at every service. So what we need you to do when you're finished checking off all of your line cleaning is use Save Changes at the bottom of the screen. That pops you back to, I'm just going to adjust this a little bit, your task overview page again. So this will say partially. It's supposed to say partially, and that's totally fine. It's just helping you visually track your progress as you go through the job. Now, this is our faucet checklist, and you are only going to be cleaning brands that belong to your distributorship, so only Monarch brands. So we'll check all the following are completed. But for instance, out of 32 faucets, let's just say we're cleaning faucet 1 and 3 for the purposes of this example. And again, we're going to scroll down to the bottom of the screen, always saving our changes. So the final step on a typical cleaning is going to be going to the system page. And we had discussed that we are just servicing faucets 1 and 3 because those are our brands. But we want to track all of our competitive brands. So here for the first faucet, we're going to say that this is Coors Light. And we'll input that, and it will bring up your drop-down menu. Now you click Next, and of course this is one of your brands, so this is going to be Monarch. And then we'll click Next. We don't need to add any notes. And then we're done. So that is a faucet change request. That shows up for Joe and my team on the dashboard, so we can approve it before we enter it into the system. So that was faucet 1. Now when you walk into the account the next time, you're going to see all these names. Right now, everything, we're just starting with fresh information, so we have to input everything. So let's say that this is a competitive brand, and we will input Budweiser. Actually, let's go with Bud Light because that's easier. And so we have Bud Light, and the distributor we're not going to input because maybe we don't know who that is. You click next, and then we're done. So that's all we need to do. Now, on faucet 3, this again is one of our brands. So we click on the little pencil, and we are going to say Fat Tire. There we go. And you just click next, and there it is. And again, this is Monarch. And once we have your service center uploaded, that will show in a drop down. It's just not set up in this test service center. So we have input our brands. That's it. So again, next time you walk in, you'll see, I believe it was Coors, Light, Budweiser, and Fat Tire. And you won't have to input as much information on the next go around simply because it's a new service center and we're tracking all the competitive brands, so it's a little bit extra data entry. Now, if you happen to go into an account and it is 32 brands like this, what I want you to do, if you become frustrated or if you are very pressed for time, is you take your route change request sheet and you write all the brands by hand on there with all the other account information, so my team can upload those on the dashboard for you, and you don't have to stand there and put them in, especially if you're stressed for time. So we're more than willing to help you with that. Now, one other thing is and I forgot to check out, when you are finished, what I need you to do is go to the tasks page and you're going to check out. I want to show you something. This little blue man, this shows the status of where you're at. So you can see if you've checked out or not. So that shows, okay, I'm active at this account currently. We click back into it, go to the tasks page. We need to check out, so it's color coded back on the dashboard. So what we want to see every time, especially if you're the foreman on a trip, and if you're one man assigned to a cleaning trip, you should always be the foreman. We need to see these checkout options. So we have completed, partially completed, no work performed, and cancel. Completed is, obviously you showed up to the trip, you completed all of the service items that were assigned. Partially completed is something that we use on this particular account all the time because it's a casino and it takes 2 days. So at the end of the day, the technician knows that he has to go back the next day, so he marks it as partially completed. That color codes it back to the dashboard and tells the draft manager and my team that he's expecting to go back out. No work performed you will be using because that would be a case of where you showed up to a cleaning trip and you got turned away. Maybe they were busy for lunch. Maybe they didn't have any gas on the beer system. Whatever the reason, it tells us that you were there, but the service was not performed. And these are all very important to color code back to the dashboard. Now, you're checked out. And this will update on your trips page. And you will see the little green check mark means you're finished. And then you just go off to the next one and repeat the same process. And remember, overview is just general account information. Tasks is all of the service items you're supposed to complete while you're in the account. It's also where you have your check-in and check-out buttons. So it's very important. Notes, this is where you can type in notes and send them back to the dashboard. And those are very helpful for us on the first round, especially of cleaning. You can also add photos from this page. So if you have, say the beer system's just in awful repair. I have an odd habit of collecting crazy photos of old beer systems. We can add that on the dashboard. The service manager can see it. And if there's a problem, we can take action. And system is always where we're tracking the brands. So for instance, here you see Miller Lite on this one. If you go back in the next time, that line is still Miller Lite. You do not have to add anything or change anything. So After the first round, on the Systems tab, your data entry will go down, decrease, I should say, by 85%, because only about 10 to 15% of lines flip on a 2-week cycle. So it's a little bit more work this time, but on the next service, everything's going to be filled out, and you should just have to make a very few changes on your Systems page. That's really it. Now, the great thing about this is you can track your progress throughout the day. If you have to, leave one account, go back to another, and you have the ability to scroll forward and backwards by date. So if you want to get a jump on the next day, you just input that and you're off and running. It will take you to that day, but I think that's a Saturday. So for instance, if you're on Friday, you have extra time, you want to skip to Monday, you can do that. You are not locked in, and you just, bam, move to the next one. Same goes for if you want to catch up to trips that were earlier in the week. You can do that as well and pick up those trips. So it gives you flexibility, even though it's in an organized way by day, you can still go forwards and backwards. So I expect you guys to have a lot more questions. Our team is here to support you. You can text us, you can email, you can call. And we look forward to helping you through the startup process, and we're excited to have you on board. Thanks so much.